Welcome back to another episode of Amazing Kitchen. Today we'll be making something very special, something that I love drinking. It's a soup, a provision soup from the Caribbean. If you're not familiar with where the Caribbean is, it's somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. There's a group of islands close to Central America. All those islands from Trinidad, Jamaica, all the way up with these tiny other islands are called the Caribbean islands or the West Indies. So the soup there are what the most popular soup is called the provision soup. Now it's called provision soup because it's made from all the earthly ground vegetables like yam, potatoes and carrots and onions. So it's a very rich soup. It's to give you a lot of energy. Because in the old days, everyone works in the plantation fields, so they're out in the sun, in the fields, bending over their back. They need a lot of strength to last the day, so a lot of energy to fill their belly. So that's why we have a lot of provision in this soup, and we'll go through all the ingredients and you will see it's quite a rich soup, but very tasty. So what we have here today, as you can see, we have some sweet potatoes. These are honey sweet potatoes. We have 1 onion. We have corn, a sweet corn. We have some chopped potatoes. We have some carrots. We have 1 dasheen. Then we have also a pumpkin. So I've taken just some. I've cleaned the inside out and we will peel the outside before we use it. So I cannot find Scotch bonnet pepper, which is local to the Caribbean islands. So in this case, I've substituted with a jalapeno pepper. So we'll just put 1. If you don't like it very hot, you can take out the seeds, but this adds a lot of flavor to it also. Then we have some fresh thyme. We have some garlic cloves. Then for seasoning, we have some chicken bouillon. This adds a lot of flavor and seasoning to this also. We have some all-purpose seasoning. This will also add some depth. And that's for all the provisions. Then I have some green peas that are soaking in water for a few hours to soften. So this will add the texture and depth to this soup. This is also very tasty. And last but not least, we need some meat. So we have some chicken wings. I will separate the joints and then we'll use these in our soup. So let's start with our chicken. Since we have them here, let's get our knife. We'll separate the joints right here. We don't need to cut them. We just find the joints and we simply cut right through them. So you can save your knife, you don't need to chop. Okay, now our chicken is cut. We'll put that aside. We have our green bean, or soaked, or chickpeas, or split peas I should say. Now we'll just drain this. Great, so now it's all drained. So this is ready to go. We'll use this in the soup. So now our chopping board is clean. Now let's move on. So these we just simply split them, make them into smaller pieces. We have our onion. We'll just split these into 4s. This will be sufficient. And we got our sweet potato. These are honey sweet potatoes. You can use any type that you choose. So same these, once they hit the soup, they'll soften up very quickly. So we don't need to cut them too small. Nice. So now that's cut. We move on to the carrots. Now the carrots, same thing. They soften up quite nicely, so we don't need to cut them too small. Nice. So our carrots are cut. Whoops. Got our potato. We'll split them in half, in 4s, because these are not very big. And then I'll add them to the rest of the potatoes that I've cut ahead of time. Then we have our pumpkin. So we don't want the skin, so we just cut the skin off. Oh, got a little piece there, and some more right here. Good. So that's done. Now we just give this also just a few small chops. Great. Now this is all cut. Then we have our corn right here. So for the corn, depending, for this size, I will split it into 4 pieces, so everyone can get some. So I'll break it in half, then maybe cut this again, and another half, split this also. Good. So now we have nice 4 big chunks. Now that go in our soup just so, toward the end. Then last but not least, our pepper. So we cut the end off. We split this in half. So now we've exposed the inside, and we'll just toss these in 2 halves. So that's it for all our vegetables and meat. Everything is cut, is drained. Now let's move on to the cooking. So the cooking, we will start with the chicken and the green beans. We'll stir them up, let the flavor emit with the thyme and garlic. Then we'll add water to it, let it boil for about 40 minutes. Then we'll add the rest of the provision so that it can all simmer together to complete the taste. Alright, now we're ready to cook our provision soup. Let's turn on the heat, and I'll get some oil. We need some oil because we need to stir fry everything. So now as everything is heating up, we add our garlic cloves, our thyme, then we can add our split peas. Oh, if you can smell this, this is smelling good. The thyme is roasting with the garlic. Now we give the split peas a little roast in this to infuse the flavor. Looking good. Now we can add our chicken to this also. Mix this all together. Chicken looking good. We'll get some water and we'll top this up and let it boil for 45 minutes. Last amount of water that goes into this. So it's filled to the rim almost. So depending on the size of your pot, for mine it's not a very big pot, so I only need about 3 bowls to fill this to the top. But if you have a much bigger pot, you're serving a larger family, then go ahead, prepare your water ahead of time and pour it in. So good. Now let's give this a stir. Make sure it doesn't stick. Make sure it's not stuck to the bottom. Then we bring this up to a boil and leave it on high heat. So to boil away some of that water, then we can add the provisions into it and finish the soup. Okay, now 45 minutes has passed. Now let's check on this. Ooh, this is looking beautiful. As you can see, the split peas has all melted into our soup. Now we can add the rest of our provision to this. But before that, we'll add our seasoning also. This is the all-purpose seasoning or seasonal chicken bouillon. We'll mix this in and we can add our provisions. Our onion, pepper, carrots, a potato, a sweet potato, a pumpkin. We'll save the corn for later when this comes back to a boil. Now the provision will release a lot more flavor into the soup, and it will also absorb the flavor from the liquid earlier, and this will create a very nice marriage. It's very rich, very tasty, and it's a meal on its own. So let's let this come back to boil. We'll add the corn to it, cover it, let it simmer for another on low heat for about another half an hour, 40 minutes. Then we'll give it a taste and see how this is. And let's check on our soup. Oh yes, it has reduced. Everything looked like it has softened up nicely. So now is the time to add our corn. All right, now let's give this a quick taste to see how much salt we will be needing. It's very balanced. We won't be needing much. So maybe just about 1 teaspoon. Make sure you stir this regularly once it starts to thicken up so that it won't burn. Now with our new spoon, let's give this another try. Just the right amount of salt. Wow, this is perfect. Let it cook for another 10-15 minutes. We can turn off the heat and this is good to serve. All right, welcome back. Now our soup is ready. As you can see, this looks beautiful. It's nice and thick because of the split peas and all the provision that is in it. So the flavor is as what you see. This is perfect. I like to add a little black pepper to this. If you love spice, you can always add some more hot sauce to this also. Now this is so hot, I will just leave it on the table and try this just so. Okay, moment of truth. Wow. Ah, this is a childhood dream. I mean, this is so rich and so comforting. It's a good meal on its own. This soup is just so rich with flavor. Now let's try the carrot. It's nice and soft and it's still sweet. Now let's try this chicken. Of course, this chicken has been cooking for so long, so it's nice and soft. We don't even need a fork or a knife. A spoon will do, like this. It's very hot. Very tender. Wow. If you've never tried a provision soup like this from the Caribbean, you may want to try this recipe out at home. If you like this to be vegetarian, you can leave the chicken out and it's all ready to go. This soup is amazing. So if you like what you see today, remember to subscribe, hit our logo, and let us know if you'd like to see any other future episodes. You can comment below and give us some suggestions. Now until next time, we'll see you again. Bye. See you.